Having spent 10 days in hospital with a corona-induced 38.5 fever, 2nd Division Fujiazuma was thankful merely for his health and the chance to be competing again in November. "I'm so grateful to the directors and sumo chairman for allowing me to keep rank," he added of the decision to allow every Tamanoi stableman to stay where he was after having to sit out September. "Being on the dohyo is the happiest thing for me," he added. But inside, Fujiazuma knew that further happy memories would be hard to create. The huge disruption to his tournament build-up, rendering him less than 70% fit. For a 33-year-old with only 2 tournaments at 2nd Division level in 4 years, the scale of the task was immense. "I fought on spirit alone," is a popular sumo refrain among unfit wrestlers, and that seemed to be true of Fujiazuma on day 1. His lack of rhythm was clear from the number of missed thrusts, yet he hung on well enough to fashion a winning chance, thwarted only by Chiyonoumi's superb footwork. "I wasn't moving too badly," was Fujiazuma's conclusion, but he visibly tired quickly. His second opponent was Nishiki Fuji, who was on a losing run of 6. Could his low confidence be exploited? Emphatically not. Another wayward right left his belt unguarded, and a fine chance to build momentum had gone. Jokoryu on day 3 had won 5 of his last 6. Fujiazuma's favoured inside left was obtained, blocking Jokoryu's preferred inside right, but one hand on the belt rarely beats 2, especially when the opponent is a well-built force-out specialist. A push-out defeat by Jokoryu's tricky stablemate Ura left him still hunting for a first win on day 5 against Takatoriki's son Naya, stepping up from Division 3 to make up the numbers. And the veteran was going backwards the moment those 2 giant hands slammed into his throat. Perhaps this fixture was Naya's reward for grinning and bearing recent harsh treatment by the rankings committee. Perhaps Fujiazuma sensed that and began to feel ashamed. His pre-match conduct the next day seeming like that of a man who viewed fighting as an ordeal. More thrusts than usual connected, but Mitoryu's 190 kilos were not to be moved. The moment fire was returned, he gave up. Day 7 saw his balance fail the test of crafty Kyokushuho's slapdown move, while Day 8 saw Hakuyozan given complete right-of-way from starter's line to rope. That 8th straight defeat condemned Fujiazuma to Division 3. But thoughts of pulling out of the tournament were never entertained. He's been doing professional sumo since he was 15. He's spent more of his life inside a sumo stable than outside it. Surely, in all that time, he must have learned enough to eke out a win somehow. With that mindset did he return on day 9 to face Taka Genji. Again, some good face shots landed, but they just seemed to bounce off the bigger man, who responded in kind before seizing his chance for a belt grip. On to day 10 then, and a match against walking wounded Ikiyoi, with 7 defeats from 9 in the tournament and 6 from 9 against him. I'm sure you could hear the sheer sympathy Fujiazuma was attracting. The crowd were now really behind him, and he strained every sinew to respond. His thrusting rhythm was now markedly better than it had been in week 1. His parry covered well for the foot slip, and he grittily drove Ikiyoi back. But not for the first time, his right arm was too high and promptly attacked. And when you're getting bashed on a daily basis, even 50-50 decisions tend to go against you. The only reward for his best display so far was a rematch on an exhausted body. Ikiyoi again went for the raised right arm and hooked him in for a force out. Now it really was a quest to avoid a winless tournament. A push-out defeat to Chiyootori took him to 0-11, ahead of this meeting with Tsurugisho. But by now, even the fatigue from previous bouts was weighing down his fighting spirit. Perhaps the presence of his beleaguered coach, Tamanoi, at ringside could inspire him on day 13 against Shohozan. Both coach and student were born in Tokyo's Adachi-ku, a mere few hundred meters from the stable, and their bond with the locals is special enough to drive Fujiazuma on, come what may. Adachi-ku pride sustained him for over 100 seconds there. He gave it everything, but was just not in the condition to deliver. A resigned droop of the head and reach for the pen from Coach Tamanoi to mark down his charge's 13th loss, but he couldn't have asked for a drop of sweat more in effort. And besides, it was not as if Fujiazuma had ever beaten Shohozan before. A 14th loss to Wakamotoharu was perhaps inevitable after that, on the final Saturday, thus requiring him to beat Dai Amami in the closer to avoid the whitewash. Those still rooting for him did so with a sense of dread, as if waiting for a dazed matador to be gored. And once Dai Amami's left clamped the belt, there was only to be one result. "I just couldn't catch a break over the whole 15 days, was Fujiazuma's verdict. We simply have to applaud his effort. And to those fearing he might retire, he replied, "I can't bow out like this. I'm going to try extra hard to get my form back now." Thus, after Oki in September, did sumo register its first instance of two men going 0-15 in successive tournaments. But, as a member of a large and competitive Tamanoi stable, Fujiazuma is well placed to regroup. And, in this approaching festive season, the Adachiku locals will be sure to remind him of the love and support he has earned.